What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and I'm going to talk about the Marvel's Avengers XP boost and resource boost controversy that is taking place within the community and why they're wrong. So, what I want to say is that back in March, Marvel's Avengers made a change called the XP rework. And they really shouldn't have announced this to the community. They probably could have made these changes and anyone probably would have hardly noticed. But the way the game was made was that it was giving you XP and you were leveling up 2 or 3 times during during a single mission, which meant that you had 2 or 3 skill points that you would have to allocate, and you wouldn't have time to read about the particular perks that you're buying or learn about how to use a new move before you already have to buy 2 or 3 others, right? So most RPGs work in a pace where every time you level up, it takes more XP to get to the next level. It's built on a curve. Well, Marvel's Avengers wasn't originally launched with that. So it was an equal amount of XP per level up, which means the further you get in the game, the more difficult enemies you fight, the more XP you get, the more you level up, and then it starts to get a little too rapid. So they made that change and put XP on a curve. So yes, it is slower to gain XP, but it is more in line with most games that involve anything to do with leveling up. So this was, yes, it was their fault for not introducing that at the beginning, because it's something that's so core and basic in so many RPGs. So that was something the community was mad about then, because they called it an XP nerf. But that is not true. It is an XP rework, and it's more in putting it in line with other RPGs, and pretty much every video game that has leveling up will probably follow this type of thing, where it takes more XP to get to the next level the higher you get. So yes, it does slow down your XP gains. And people feel like now that with them selling XP boosters, that it's them monetizing, that they made those cuts back in March so that they could monetize now and start selling us to get more XP and making us buy XP essentially. And people are calling this a pay to win scheme. But without any evidence, without there being audio recordings or leaked documents from a meeting at Crystal Dynamics where they say, oh yeah, we'll cut the XP in half, and then we'll charge them for it a few months later, and then yeah, we'll make tons and tons of money. So unless you can prove that there's some sort of scheme there, I'm not buying this nefarious claim that the developers are all of a sudden money hungry and have made some sort of pay to win scheme here. I don't see that. And it's also interesting that nobody got mad when they were giving away XP boosters and resource boosters in the marketplace. They've been doing this for several weeks. Every now and then they'll give you a free XP boost or a resource boost, and people would save them and they'd say like, oh yeah, I'm going to use it when Black Panther comes out, or yeah, I'm going to use some of my boosts when Spider-Man comes out so I can get him caught up to the rest of the Avengers. Listen to that very carefully. I want to get them caught up to where the rest of my Avengers are. So what it really is a time saver. You're using it, you're using the XP boost to get newer characters in line with other characters that you've already done the grinding and the leveling up and the resource dance and all that. So really what this is, these two boosts, XP and resources, these are a time saver. And you can pay your way to save some time. So you don't have to spend hours and hours grinding for resources. So some players may not have time to be on all day, every day, or for several hours. Some people might only be weekend warriors playing over the weekend, or maybe they can only get on a couple days a week or a day a week to get on and play some stuff, try to knock out the weekly challenges. So ultimately, if you weren't mad about it when they were giving them away for free, why are you mad about them charging for it? Okay, well, we go back to their promise, right? This is the other thing that's outrageous. They always said that the marketplace was only going to be for content like outfits, emotes, takedowns, nameplates, all stuff that's purely cosmetic, purely vanity type stuff. And so that's kind of changing the game with them selling XP and resource boosts. And a lot of people are calling it pay to win. Well, let's deconstruct that too. Because pay to win is not the same thing as a time saver. Pay to win is when you're paying money to get better resources, better guns, or higher skills, or whatever it may be, to get you to a better point where you can defeat other players with your money. But this is a PvE game. This is a cooperative multiplayer game, also a single player game if you play it that way. So what's the harm in selling these? I'll admit, I'm not excited for these XP boosts or consumable boosts. It doesn't excite me in any way. Occasionally, it's been nice to use them, especially when there's a 4 times XP weekend. But see, nobody gets mad about that either, because when they do a quadruple XP weekend, and then you stack 1.5 on top of that, you're getting 5.5 times XP. Nobody's mad about somebody outgrinding them by using those resources. So why are we mad now, other than they went back on a promise? Which, honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they went back on a couple of their promises. Like charging for DLC. If we got bigger, better, longer DLC that we had to pay $30 for, I'd be more happy for that than $14 on a costume, an outfit. So it just depends. I personally will fund the game if there is something interesting for me to purchase, if there's an expansion, or if there's a cool outfit that I really want, or a takedown or whatever. And I'll put my money into the game and fund the game that way, because they do have to make continuous money to keep a live service game running. So we understand that they need to add new stuff to the store, the marketplace, to keep it relevant and to keep money coming into the game. But there's potential that they could do that with weapon skins. They could have different guns for Black Widow, different shields for Captain America, different Hulkbuster skins for Iron Man, different hammers for Thor. Potentially, at some point it would require a rework of the skill tree and the way the game plays in general for Thor, but they could eventually introduce Stormbreaker. They can do that with each of the characters. Different bows for Hawkeye and different swords for Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, right? And bows and quivers and arrows and all that kind of stuff, right? So there's lots of things that maybe they could do differently to maximize the marketplace. But I don't think this is the hill to die on with the consumables and stuff. Yeah, maybe they went back on a promise, but is it really that big of a deal? And does pay to win exist if it's a PvE co-op game? And if so, wouldn't you want your friends to pay for a boost so that they can catch up to where you are, so you can both do the raid together or the Omega level threats? And maybe these consumables are something that's leading to these events that we have, where you might want to buy some extra XP boosting to be able to be prepared for the raid. Maybe you have lots of other games that you're playing and you need to catch up on Marvel's Avengers. It's up to you whether you want to buy a boost or not. I'm not going to advocate that anyone should go out there and buy the boosts. If you don't like them, don't buy them. But I don't think that's a sole argument there, and that's not a hill I'm willing to die on. But my principles stand. They're out there. And if they go back on this, I wouldn't care either way. If they shoot out an apology next week or this week and say, yeah, we were wrong about that, we shouldn't have. Fine. I'm fine either way that they go about it, but we do know that there's potentially better ways that they can maximize the marketplace. But I don't get the outrage, and I don't try to be contrarian just to be contrarian. I don't really do that. I usually look for the good in most things, and if I'm truly upset or outraged about something, then I will be. Um, the other thing is, I do feel like the community is being toxic, is getting personal against the developers, and that's not right. There shouldn't be any name calling, threats, any of that stuff. We should be a better community than that. So there's no reason to vilify or insult the devs. They are people working a job. And it may not be their fault. It may be people in the higher ups. It may be the publisher. We don't know. And that's the big point. So we can only comment on what we do know. Okay? But yeah, I think that behavior is uncalled for. And I think their statement on that was very important to put out. But they also might need to address this at some point. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Marvel's Avengers XP boost controversy. And keep your comments clean and don't issue any hatred either way. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.